I will not give up on myself. I will not give up on my dreams. I will make my life count. You're gonna get through this. It's who you are. I will make my life count.
Save your time. Save your money. Welcome to Rotten Real Roll. I'm Sinmin. Today, we're going to talk about Netflix's new movie, Paying Hustlers. Before we start, please like, share, and follow our channel if you enjoy this content. Don't forget to hit the notification bell for updates. Thank you. Regarding whether to make this episode, I was rather hesitant. On the one hand, I have a lot to say about this movie, but on the other, the shockingly low popularity of this film implies that the comments about it might attract a lower viewership. However, I eventually decided to create this episode because speaking out about one's thoughts on a film is the initial purpose behind this channel. When you search for the film's title on TubeBuddy, the search counts show remarkably fewer hits, even lower than most low-budget indie films. As of now, its ratings and freshness are much lower than expected, considering it was developed by Sony Pictures, starred Emily Blunt and Chris Evans, and even landed on the recommended section of Netflix. This performance is even more surprising. So, what exactly led to this situation? Could it be because this movie is genuinely bad? Lizer, played by Emily Blunt, is a destitute stripper. She endures a failed marriage, single-handedly raising a critically ill daughter. She even gets thrown out by her sister for failing to pay rent, leading her to live in a motel. With nowhere else to turn, she seeks help from Pete, a previous client from the strip club, hoping for a job. Little does she know, Pete's small pharmaceutical company is on the verge of collapse due to its inability to sell drugs. Pete, with a let's-see approach, hires Lizer, who doesn't even have a high school diploma, as a pharmaceutical representative on a very low starting salary. Against all odds, Lizer, after several rejections, convinces a doctor to prescribe the one-span pain spray. The company's business improves under their operation and successfully goes public. Later, Lizer discovers the company's flagship product, the pain spray, mainly contains fentanyl, and many patients have died from overdose. That's the main storyline of this film. The primary reason for this question likely resides in the project planning and promotional strategy. Just 2 months after Sony decided to develop this film, a similar themed series, Dopesick, began airing on Hulu and received an impressive rating of 8.6. Shortly after, another film focusing on drug abuse and the underlying medical system, Painkiller, also quickly released and gained good reviews. In a brief 2-year period, 3 films with similar themes emerged, nearly identical in storytelling angle. Even with the participation of Emily Blunt and Chris Evans, it couldn't make much difference. It's no wonder Sony decided to package and sell this project to Netflix. The latter, having 3 similar themed projects on hand, naturally lacked interest in promoting it extensively. Objectively speaking, the production quality of Paying Hustlers isn't actually bad. Many have compared it to a medical rep version of The Wolf of Wall Street, which is reasonable. Despite the difference in industries explored, this film shares a high degree of similarity in tone and story structure with the former. Even if Emily Blunt's performance doesn't reach the heights of Leonardo DiCaprio, it's definitely above average. If you browse through IMDb's comment section, you'll notice a significant number of viewers awarding it a perfect 10, almost without exception. Exciting, worth watching. Yes, if your sole intent is to derive shallow pleasure from entertainment and obtain a bit of informational knowledge from this movie, Paying Hustlers is undeniably satisfactory. If you're watching this genre of work for the first time, it could reach a 6.8 rating, as it reproduces about 80% of the thrill delivered by The Wolf of Wall Street. However, this doesn't guarantee it as a good film. The main issue is its lack of depth compared to the 2 aforementioned series. First, let's take Dopesick as an example and compare the narrative structure differences between it and this film. Dopesick adopts a multi-threaded narrative, setting up various threads, such as pharmaceutical companies and their representatives, a federal prosecutor handling the case, a female detective, Department of Justice and FDA officials, and the doctors and patients as victims. It utilizes a jumbled time-space narrative. In contrast, this film uses a single single-threaded narrative, consistently focusing on Emily Blunt's portrayal of the female lead. The film's first half tells the story of a destitute woman's inspirational journey, while the second half becomes the female lead's confession. After realizing her involvement in a scam that cost many lives, she sincerely repents, reporting the company's behavior to the prosecutor, ultimately bringing the boss and several executives to justice. You'll find that Dopasic helps audiences gain a more comprehensive understanding of the whole event and each character's position and demands, fostering a deeper understanding of the issue. However, Pain Hustlers predominantly immerses viewers in the euphoria of the main character's successful career, replacing depth with excitement. Next is the issue of the film's realism. Single-threaded narratives or entertaining movies are inherently acceptable. However, one of this film's major problems lies in the resolution of its problems through a fairy tale-style happy ending, diluting its realism. It's as if the crux of the issue revolves around a few greedy villains, and once the heroes awaken and the villains are jailed, the problem is neatly resolved. In contrast, the ending of Dopasic is evidently closer to reality. It bursts the myth of good overcoming evil. Evil isn't defeated, it's merely hindered, scraped, surrounded by public outcry, and then plays the role of withdrawing. Just as a news comment in the story's conclusion states, the Sackler family never truly went bankrupt. Nobody heard that they sold their yacht or even a single famous painting. In the United States, drug addiction is a complex social issue with systemic problems such as interest groups, hijacking the government through bribery and lobbying, and international political factors like fentanyl exports from China. Presenting this topic in an overly entertaining manner essentially wastes an opportunity to deeply explore a societal issue on the screen. Finally, the character development is overly convoluted. This film tells a story of personal success disillusionment. In such a story, the protagonist's success brings pleasure to the audience while inevitably carrying a moral burden due to their actions. Under these circumstances, we typically handle this in three ways. First, making the protagonist a bad person from the start, such as in A Clockwork Orange. Second, depicting a character who, initially good, completely loses themselves in the pursuit of success, as seen in Breaking Bad. And the third, illustrating a character struggling internally in their loss but eventually awakening, similar to Lord of War. Pain Hustlers seems to have chosen the third approach but executed it poorly. In Lord of War, Nicolas Cage's struggle is evident, attempting to resist the lure of success and wealth while knowing he's doing wrong. He deceives himself, attempting to absolve his guilt, and discards a child's toy gun, showing inner turmoil. Cage goes through several struggles. He initially decides to retire but returns due to his inability to resist temptation. This is in line with human nature because the desire for success is like a drug and isn't something easily overcome by a simple moral realization. However, the treatment in Pain Hustlers is much worse. Liza is portrayed as a good person throughout, wanting to improve her life, be a good mother and daughter. For most of the time, she doesn't even know she's selling fentanyl. She believes she's helping patients. Considering her character is depicted as a sales genius who can keenly perceive people's inner thoughts, this naivety or foolishness makes the audience feel the director's lack of sincerity. Moreover, the abrupt transformation of the protagonist in the latter half of the movie, where she quickly abandons everything she's attained after learning she's caught up in a scam, lacks any inner struggle. Furthermore, what prompts her to make this decision is merely the passing of an acquaintance. Are you kidding me? Remember, it was only after Nicolas Cage's younger brother was killed by warlords that he was truly moved. In short, I see the many contradictions in Liza's character, but I failed to see genuine human nature. Additionally, the film has several other flaws. For instance, despite Liza's successful rise to a high-ranking position in a listed company, driving a luxury car, living in a lavish apartment, she can't afford her daughter's medical expenses. This discounts her highlight moment, significantly undermining the gratification that an enjoyable film should offer. Furthermore, although Chris Evans once again delivers a stunning appearance post his Captain America role, his character remains flat without any memorable traits. Finally, as a staunch fan of Captain America, I feel really disappointed. As far as I can recall, this is yet another one of his disappointing films since departing from the role of Captain America. In recent years, it seems his only notable work is in Knives Out. I genuinely hope that he selects better scripts and roles with potential for performance. instead of assuming that playing an antagonist is sufficient to shine. Well, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share our video. And don't forget to ring the bell for updates, so that YouTube's algorithm can better recommend our channel. See ya!